Jackie Dean.
I just want to make a brief call on the SOP in the name of Phil Goff and thank him for his thoughtful contribution which he made to the Select Committee. And what Mr Goff's SOP proposes is that the SOP would allow coroners to investigate military deaths in action unless the Auditor-General directs the coroner not to investigate, which is contrary to what is proposed in the bill. In response, I would say that this issue, which always involves a grieving family of a Defence Force member or civilian in hostile action, was debated extensively by the Select Committee, and it was decided to retain the option in the bill as was drafted. Inquiries into military deaths will potentially expose sensitive information relating to tactics and relating to matters of national security, and we should not underestimate the importance of not making that kind of intelligence available, because the lives of others may depend on it. It is appropriate to have the Attorney-General direct the coroner to investigate, to protect national security and potentially top-secret tactical information. One of the members who spoke previously did go through the relevant provisions in the Coroners Amendment Bill, and I don't propose to go through those again, but they are clauses 4A, A, B, C and D. If the Attorney-General does direct a coroner to carry out an investigation or to resume an inquiry, the coroner might open or resume an inquiry, but the only purpose of that inquiry is to, as far as possible, relate to the particulars specified in sections 4.2 and A. These proposed considerations would assist the Attorney-General in considering whether coronial investigation might be helpful, might be redundant, or indeed to pertain to issues that are non-judicable. And I would say that this option, as proposed in the bill, is to avoid also duplication of investigations of defence combat deaths, given that they are normally investigated by the Defence Force's Court of Inquiry process. And I know the fact that there is a Court of an Inquiry process is a process which is disputed and perhaps undervalued by the opposition, but we were assured in the committee that that Court of Inquiry process is truly independent, and so that is the view of the Select Committee. I also want to make a brief comment around SOP 146 in the name of Jacinda Ardern. Again, there was a lot of discussion around the potential merit of requiring a mandatory response to coroners' recommendations, including by the Chief Officer. However, we felt and came to the conclusion that it was more beneficial rather than to require a mandatory response to focus better on the coroner's recommendations and involve those relevant individuals. So instead of waiting for a recommendation and then mandatory requirement for a response, involving at an earlier point in the investigation those relevant individuals and organisations early in the process to ensure that the coroner's recommendations, when they are made, are indeed useful. Thank you, Mr Chair.
Porter Williams.